I know the question on everyone's mind. Are lifeguard tryouts a real thing, right? Or did you already know that they are a real thing? Because they are.
I thought, okay, when I heard tryouts, I thought audition, and I just
Ooh.
was thinking of a musical the whole time. Like, my name's Jeff, and I will be playing the role of lifeguard. I'm Nicole Mackey.
I'm ZJ Hadley. You're listening to a recap podcast, Drowning in Nostalgia.
Welcome to Baywatchers.
So, lifeguard tryouts. So, this episode starts and largely features them, and I went into a deep dive on this. A couple of things I picked out of this episode that I got really excited about. I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna have to try to find some fun facts, but the fun facts are buried within the episode, and I'm not even prying them out. It's like a feast for the imagination.
No, they find you. You
They
don't
find
have to
me.
find fun facts. They find you. Yeah.
That's exactly it. So lifeguard tryouts in California, a real thing to this day. And honestly, I feel like maybe we have a little bit been slandering lifeguards. And something that I've been learning through the lifeguard subreddit is that it is largely teenagers, but there seems to be a big distinction between a pool lifeguard and a ocean lifeguard. It's different training. It's totally different world. And some of the people in the subreddit are like, I'm thinking about making the leap from pool to ocean lifeguard. And like, I need to make sure I'm ready for the tryouts. And it does seem to be a big deal.
I
And
hope these people never find our podcast.
yeah, it might hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
But they're 16, so I don't care.
It's fine. Yeah, they won't find it.
That part is true.
Mm.
And so it involves a 1,000-meter ocean swim. And I was curious about why the LA County website is using meters for their unit of measurement. Do you
That's
guys use
how.
meters in water?
Yeah, I think so. I know.
Wow.
Why are we all? That's why we all seem so dumb.
Well, let me confide something in you and our listeners only. Canadians don't want this to get out, but our stoves are in Fahrenheit. Yeah, so I cook dinner at like 350 degrees
Fahrenheit.
but I don't know what that is because I couldn't live at that temperature, so it's not actually useful. It's not a useful benchmark for me.
Right. Yeah,
I will never go outside and it will be 350 degrees there.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1,000-meter ocean swim, and then there's like an interview and a multiple choice test, and then there's a health and fitness testing that also tests your strength and flexibility.
Oh.
So really curious about, not curious enough to go further into this rabbit hole, but I am curious about whether that means like lifting weights or whether that's like, can you pick a 10-pound? No, I guess because you have to be able to pick up a human being.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably picking up like sandbags and shit.
Yeah. I bet it is picking up sandbags.
Because there's so much sand, they can make as many bags as they want on the beach and then make you carry as many as you can.
Yeah. So they do all of that. And so it seems like what we were seeing was actually really realistic, at least a little realistic.
Yeah.
And then if they pass all of that, they're awarded by being accepted into the training program. And that is 100-hour course over 5 weekends. That's 20 hours per weekend.
What? So 10-hour days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or a 24-hour shift maybe. Minus 4 hours.
Oh, yeah.
To get them ready for the life of lifeguarding in 24-hour shifts with short notice.
Well, they get a 4-hour nap because it's just 20 hours. So
Totally.
Wait, so this episode is realistic, except for when the woman gets shot in the leg and goes, "Ow! Ow! Ouch!"
And all the other lifeguards just keep going. They just ignore. They're not. And I'm like, guys.
But that was not a convincing scream or ow. It is so. I'm like, they definitely recorded this after the episode.
And that was a real gun, right? That wasn't a dart. No, it wouldn't have
It was a gun. It was
just a gun with a silencer on it. Okay. So, I mean, obviously we start off with this very intensive running. They're swimming. They're all wearing Speedos.
Oh my God. I was like, is this montage too long? And I thought, no, I want more. There were so many man thighs and butts that were very good.
It was all men. This show has really flipped the script on what I was expecting to see, which was exploitation of women, and it is nothing but man thigh 24/7. They linger.
Okay, but I would like to exploit the men more because the vibe was almost like homoerotic between, I think his name is Jeff, and Trevor. It's a
Mhm.
competition, but there was like a sexual thing that's
Yeah.
kind of being played up maybe, but the song did not infer that. So I would like to propose that we edit that montage with a sexier, hotter love
Oh
song so
my
that
god.
it reads more sexy.
How famous do we have to get before listeners start just doing this stuff for us and, like, submitting it to a
Oh.
fan page, and then we find it and give it a little chuckle, and go like, "Haha, that's so clever. That must have taken hours. Teehee."
Oh my god, let's be I would give I mean, if someone did that for us, I'd give it a 10-minute segment on our show and I'd say their name.
Mhm.
So, I
Mhm.
don't know if that's at all interesting to anyone listening.
Just put it out there. Just put it out there. I listened to one podcast that has been shouting out the same beer brand for their entire run because that beer brand sent them, like, 1 case of beer once.
Wow.
They showed them out every episode.
Wow, they've gotten so much added value.
The beer
The
company?
beer company, yeah.
Yes.
They're
Well,
getting
these guys are just trying to get some more beer.
yeah. Well, maybe they're trying a little too hard. Did you also see in that montage, Mitch's leg double was in it?
I didn't.
Yeah,
Oh, I
I
gotta
saw
be looking for him.
yeah. Well, I couldn't really see his legs. He was, like,
No, they
rowing
can't
with
let you see the legs, or you'd be
I know.
like, "How could bitch be in 2 places at once?" You'd be like, "I know those legs. They should be over there." The whole thing unravels if you see his legs.
Yeah, yeah, true, that's fair. I go, "Hang on, who's this guy? Those legs look familiar. I'm hot for those legs." No, I was hot for that montage, so hot.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a
Oh,
solid one.
yeah,
And so in that one, they're all wearing their own Speedos. I keep wanting to call them undies. They're not undies, they're
yeah.
Speedos. But then in later, they have a second montage where they're now in their rookie outfits, and those are
Mm.
the black now they have black matching bathing suits, which
Are
are
they
still
still Speedo?
Speedos.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Maybe okay, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming I feel like they're maybe there's the science behind this, that they're trying to say the Speedos make them faster.
Well, I was just thinking that because 'cause I'm like, "Why do lifeguards wear shorts? They're all bunchy. You could get your hand caught in the pocket." Like,
Mm.
they should be wearing Speedos maybe. Or
I
at
don't
least the equivalent of, like, boxer briefs for the beach.
Yep. Well, okay, but then in one point, Trevor puts a swimming cap over his hair,
Yeah,
but it doesn't cover. He just kind of haphazardly pulls it on and or haphazardly, and it's
yeah,
kind of not covering all his hair. And I thought, would that still help? Like if it's covering most of your head, your aero or whatever water dynamic, I
yeah,
suppose, at the
yeah.
top. So maybe that would actually make you faster. And so then if you carry that thread through, some of these men are so hairy, they need to be covering more of their bodies. If
Yes.
speed is of the essence, showing off your hairy legs is not helping anyone.
No, it's precious seconds we learned in the last episode when Jill couldn't reach that drowning victim, and so
Well,
if that well,
that was a murder. That wasn't her
true.
fault. We're absolving Jill from that.
Oh, yeah, no, we did. I'm saying, like, that was what she was so fixated on, was, like, the
Yes.
time it takes. It's, like, fractions of seconds, so should all lifeguards be shaving, as professional swimmers do, to save fractions of seconds? That's
Well,
someone's life.
or I just thought maybe the men should be wearing like one-piece bathing suits, like women wear, who
But
cover their
like a
chests.
Borat thing,
Exactly.
where it's, like, Speedo on the bottom and then just one thin strap because they don't have to cover their nipples.
No, but they should cover their chest hair for a lot of them.
Oh, right.
It covers a lot.
Oh, right,
Or like
yeah.
a tankini, I think is what I'm
Right,
suggesting.
sure. Or just your standard oh, but a mock neck because, they have a cherry
Yes.
Hess, so they have a hairy chest, so it has to I said cherry Hess.
I knew I was there.
I like the idea of a mock neck swimsuit on men.
I do too, except for I do also love the Speedos. So, like,
I know.
just want to give them options. But I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a disconnect for me between the emphasis on speed and then, like, what I just don't understand.
Sure.
I'm not going to the trouble to put on a swim cap and then not shaving my chest. I would rather not shave my chest or wear a swim cap.
Right. Yeah, I get
Um,
it. I get what you're saying. Yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense to me.
So at the beginning of this, Trevor and his compatriot, his love affair here, Jeff, who I think that might be his name. We're
Yeah.
not sure. He looks at this man and he goes like, "Hey, softy," or something, or maybe Mitch calls him softy. Anyway, someone calls this chiseled Ken-like man who looks like he has been carved out of a block of ice as like a joke about masculinity. Like, it's overemphasized. He is a caricature of masculinity, and they call him Softy. And I'm like, of all the things you could call this rock hard chiseled man, Softy was not what I was expecting.
It's like when you call someone tiny, but they're a big man.
Yeah, but they're not trying to be affectionate. They're trying to actually tease him.
Be
And so,
rude.
like,
Oh,
that's just not
fair.
what I would go with.
True, yeah.
So how old do you think Trevor and his friend are?
In the show, their characters or the people that played?
Give me whatever you think you can come up with.
Oh, it's hard because Trevor is weathered.
Trevor's
So
weathered.
it's hard to know. I think like his character's supposed to be like 24.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff, oh no, now I'm thinking if they're just training for lifeguards, then they're more like 22.
So in this episode, they call Jeff 18 years old.
No, that is a 30-year-old man.
I know, but they repeatedly say they're like, an 18-year-old just have a heart attack on the beach? It's crazy. And I'm like, who are you talking about? Did a younger person have a heart attack behind Jeff?
I didn't even catch that. Yeah, there's someone off camera that he's been giving steroids to that also had a heart attack that's 18 years old. Oh my God.
And Trevor and Jeff are having this like fight or whatever, but I looked up, I don't know how old they're trying to say Trevor is in the show, but Peter Phelps was 29 when they were filming this. And I'm like, why are you beefing with this kid?
Ew, yeah, that's embarrassing.
So the kid's either also 35 or stop beefing with the kid. But
Trevor's character is embarrassing though. He is not very evolved, I would say.
But I do have some love in my heart for Trevor, and I hope that he comes through for me. But like, they're really setting up an arc for him, and they have to do that by making him a dirtbag at first.
Sure. Yeah. We're already seeing it. Yeah, we're already seeing how, now he's like a licensed lifeguard or whatever the equivalent. And we're already seeing like, okay, he's starting to see the importance of learning these skills and being serious about people's lives instead of just like, I want to save the hot chick.
Yeah, he didn't have to enroll for this and take it really seriously. He did it because his girlfriend almost drowned, and he was really shaken up by that. So that's evolution. You just said he doesn't have an evolution, but he's evolving right before our eyes. He only gets 10 seconds every 5 episodes.
I know. Well, he's still kind of he's still an asshole. He still has some weird like personality thing that makes him very unlikable, and he needs to work on that also, not just his 100 meters
and 1,000 meters.
1,000 meters,
and doesn't mean anything to you. It could be 1,000,000 miles.
I know. Well, no, it's 10 times more than the 100. So
right,
that's a lot.
The one thing Trevor definitely needs to work on, though, and this is, I guess I'm just fixating on the bad insults in this episode, but at one point, Eddie, again, there's so many things you could say about Trevor.
Yeah.
They criticize him. It's a plethora. Eddie says, well, at least I don't have a silly accent.
Oh.
First of all, Australian, notably the hottest accent. Everyone knows that. There's no disagreement. It's not even a contest. Everyone knows.
No, I might disagree.
Oh, do you think it's Philly, where Eddie is from?
No, but that was the joke.
Oh, you think that was a joke?
Yeah, I think that was a joke.
They were in on it? It didn't read as ironic.
I don't think Eddie's in on the joke, but I think it's like a writer's joke.
We are in it. Okay.
Yeah.
At one point, someone in that scene, I think it's it's in this beginning section, but I suppose it may come into place later. But Gina, Craig's wife, at one point, she's wearing 3 watches.
I don't know if we should talk about the fashion in this episode, but I was truly upset by so much of it.
The fashion in this episode was fulsome. There were a lot of things to look at.
And it's all Gina's.
It's all Gina's.
It's just not all that she's wearing it, but it's all her fashions. And there was a hat at one point that had no top, and I couldn't have hated it. I remember I got a hat when I was a kid, and it had a fucking fake flower glued on it. And it was just like a denim bucket hat. And I was like, this will be a cute hat without this flower on it. It was like a red flower. I ripped it off. No, it looked like shit underneath. I could never even wear it. It was like glue, and there was still dye. Like, it didn't look even. Ruined a perfectly fine hat.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that happened.
The 90s were a wild time.
A wild time, but you are correct about the hat that you are describing, which is like like a straw hat with the top cut off, and she
No,
has
God.
like a tousled bob, and it's coming up through the middle of the. So she would have had to do that purposely because you put
Yeah.
a hat on, your tousled bob wouldn't go out the middle. She did that.
She pulled it, she teased it up into like a bump it situation. And
Yeah,
then like there was loose parts, but then it was also like teased and slicked back.
yeah,
Oh, it was, and then the dress, it was just like a tight dress. The dress was fine, but it was just the way she came out of that bedroom. It was just
yeah.
like, all right, I'm gonna go take on my day or whatever. I hope it's okay. I'm wearing this stuff. It's like, oh, these are some choices that
Yeah,
were very specific to this 1989, 1990.
choices in the show, but
Yeah.
also choices in like you wake up in a stranger's bedroom, you
Yes.
don't have any clothes because you were rescued in like a
Swimsuit.
bodysuit. I don't even think it is a swimsuit.
Yeah.
It looks
It
like a
looked cotton.
cotton bodysuit.
Yeah. It was a cotton gray, like heather body
So
suit.
I was relieved. I was like, is she gonna put back that bodysuit that she wore all day and then slept in, and also it was wet at one point? Is she gonna put that back on today?
Oh.
Because that's my worst nightmare.
She slept
And
in it?
well, I don't know. Maybe she slept nude, but still, I'm
Yeah.
not putting that bodysuit back on the next day. You could not compel me. So she made the right choice to take some of Gina's clothes, but like
Yeah.
pick something casual.
Also, don't sleep in a wet bathing suit. I just want to, this is a PSA to everyone who has a vagina.
Yeah.
If you have that sort of part down there, don't sleep in a wet swimsuit. It is a one-way ticket to yeast infection.
Yeah. It's a bad scene. But I would say no matter what your genitalia, I think you should avoid sleeping in a wet bathing suit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Always.
I think that's fair. But yeah, people with a penis can get a yeast infection in there.
Yeah,
I think it's
but
less
also
likely.
just sleeping in a wet bathing suit sounds bad.
It sounds bad, yeah. It's not good. It's not good for anyone.
Unless you're sleeping on a floater.
Oh, if you're just taking a light nap by the pool, that's fine. I'm saying like your full 8 hours in a bed.
Agree.
Wet swimsuit? What kind? You should go to jail.
Agree. I want the Venn diagram of people who listen to our podcast and people who would willfully choose to sleep in a wet one-piece bathing suit. I want them to be separate circles.
Yeah. Listen, I have a strong opinion on this because I have slept in a wet bathing suit.
Oh, wow. I wondered why this was such a hard stance for you. Go on. Why?
I was definitely in my early 20s and I was
That's 2. I thought you were going to say like 8.
Oh, no. I think I was smarter and had less to drink at 8 years old.
Oh, okay.
But I definitely had been at like a house party all day. And then me and 2 friends were just like, can we stay here? And they were like, yeah. And we stayed in some room with just like a couch in it. And
Right.
I didn't have anything. But it wasn't great. And I don't think I got anything from it.
I was going to ask, do you still have the yeast infection you got that night?
Yeah, it was a lifetime of it created a lifetime of yeast.
Oof.
Oh,
Big
gross.
bread down there.
No, it was, but I will say I didn't smell great.
Great. Feel like we've covered that. Good. So the lifeguards are at lifeguard tryouts. They're busting ass. Maybe they're also in the program. It seems like whoever wins that race gets accepted into the program with no regard for their aptitude or like personality or anything. They literally say first 25 people back, you win, you get in the program. And so that's what all of our cast members are working on.
Yeah.
Question 1, who's watching the Bay?
Yeah, because they're all buddied up. They're either like there as a spectator or like a cheerleader, I guess, or they're then buddied up after that, and they have to go to all the rehearsals.
Well, I thought that the buddying up was a lie that the men used to trick the attractive woman into hanging out with them.
Ew.
I don't think that was true.
No, I thought they really did have to have buddies.
I didn't think
you
so.
don't think?
No, I thought it was a ploy.
Oh, I wasn't. I guess I wasn't.
It's possible that Jeff and Trevor were assigned as buddies.
Yeah,
I thought they were just beefing.
Yeah, they're beefing.
Yeah. So everybody's there, and our guest star of the week,
yeah,
appears. She's a very attractive woman. She's named Amy, and she's having a fight with her either drug or arms dealer boyfriend,
Yeah.
who is also 45.
Do they call it? Yeah. Yeah. Also, he's a famous character actor. I recognize him. I mean,
Oh.
I think his name is I don't know his name.
He had a very pointy face, and he wore a very high neck in every scene. He was wearing a turtleneck in one scene, and then he was wearing a very collared white shirt in another one, and I was like, that guy hates his neck.
Or it's like he's stuffy. I like the turtleneck with the suit. That's very 80s like mob boss to me.
Yeah.
He is a character actor named William Fichtner. He's been in like 50 things. You would recognize him from stuff in other stuff, like big name stuff. But I immediately was like, "Oh, I've seen this man before." But I loved the casting of him, and then like his like meathead muscle guy
Yeah.
who is that car chase.
Yes.
Was probably the longest car chase that's ever existed in the state of California. That didn't involve cops, I guess.
Oh, that didn't involve cops, I'll give you. I was wondering that too. I'm like, oh, come on. And
There's
but
no
then
traffic?
I know, but then, well, there's the traffic, the beach traffic, all of that is very circumstantial in this TV show. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
unusual to see no other cars on the road in LA.
Yeah.
But then I thought, well, it's pre-Waze days, so maybe people don't have a way to tell the cops that there's a car chase going on.
Well, it would be like there's a car chase heading north on PCH or
But
whatever.
so
Like,
what do? Are you getting your car phone out?
oh.
Maybe it just takes them
You
longer
just
to
shout
find out
it.
and arrive at the scene because they have to wait till someone drives home, gets their phone
Calls
and
the-
calls.
yeah. I was here 50 minutes ago. This was happening. They're like, there's nothing else happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also she ends that car chase and she runs straight into the water again, which I'm like, we just had this
Yeah.
conundrum last week. Who is in charge in the writing room?
Yeah.
Because why are we doing the same plot point twice?
Well, because they got to find a way to get this into the beach. It's called
Yeah,
Baywatch. It's not
true.
called Downtown LA Watch.
Yeah. True. Marina Watch.
No.
No.
So, but truly the way she gets out of her very recognizable convertible car that he's just been right behind her.
Yeah.
And then she goes over a small hill. Then she
Yeah.
stops to watch to see what happens. She's like right there. He's right there. He's looking around. They're like 10 feet from each other.
I know.
Then she undresses and in her bodysuit, she runs and jumps into the ocean because she sees all the lifeguards training.
Yeah.
The lifeguards are doing their race and they've got like people on paddle boards, like pacers and stuff like that, pacing them.
Yeah.
So definitely they would have noticed. But no, she just swims up and joins the lifeguards, finishes the race, and comes in like third,
Yeah.
despite not having done the first half of it.
More soul and valor.
Yes, but everyone could have seen. And then at
Yeah.
one point, Eddie confesses that he knows she cheated.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, at one point he says like, she was like, I cheated. And he was like, yeah, I kind of figured.
First of all, Eddie, no.
Well, she
You
didn't-
figured because she finished as a woman early?
No. It was definitely
Oh.
on Eddie's behalf. It was definitely because the montage that comes right before that is the one where they are wearing their matching bathing suits and he's like clearly showing her basics. He's like showing her CPR. He's showing her stuff like that. And I think
Mhm.
you are supposed to come into the program already knowing CPR.
Yeah. Because
So I think his
they're-
assessment that like you don't know what you're doing is correct.
okay. Because, yeah, they all have some lifeguarding experience. There's a whole lifeguarding coach. Like, these people are not, you don't just show up on the
Yeah.
beach one day and you're like, I might become a lifeguard today. Let me see if I could swim this length.
Was that a lifeguard coach though, or like a swimming coach, or like a rowing coach or something? What the fuck is a lifeguard coach?
It's someone who coaches you to be the best goddamn lifeguard that you can be, ZJ.
It's got to be a swim coach. He's got to be Mitch's old swim coach or something. It's
Yeah.
not clear, but it can't be a lifeguard coach.
No, well, I think he is a swim coach, but also he is a lifeguard coach in this instance at this point in time. He is coaching this man, boy, 18-year-old
Yeah.
to be a lifeguard.
I suppose you're right. Yeah.
It's wild.
So she gets in the mix. Immediately, Eddie is like, you got anywhere to stay? She's like, no. He's like, don't worry about it. Come back home with me. And he like sneaks her in. The thing that's dumb about that is they would have let her anyway. They love taking home strays.
I was going to say, Eddie caught whatever Gina has that says, let's let strays come home with us. And they've been living together too long. And yet
Yes.
I still love them living together. I love how disgustingly horny Gina and Craig are right in front of Eddie. And Eddie just acts like it's not happening. It reminds me of some of the friends I had growing up whose parents would be horny, like in front of all of us. And the kids didn't really notice, I think, because it was regular.
Yeah.
And I always noticed. And I was like they're playing grab ass. And you're like, this is gross. I mean, good that your parents love each other, but
Yeah.
gross that it's happening here and now.
Yeah.
It was giving very much that.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross. I'm just like,
Um,
this is a romantic vacation and we got to get sweaty or
Okay.
whatever. I'm like,
yeah. So we're gonna.
Craig, stop.
So they're talking so much about romance,
Yeah.
but like, I'm not married and I don't have kids, so maybe I'm about to sound really uninformed, but like, is making a baby super romantic?
No, it's business. I've seen
It's
movies.
business.
Yeah, I've seen movies. It's the business. And there's a lot of pressure on it, which is why I
Yeah.
think she's kind of wound up going
Yes.
into this vacation. So yeah, it's not going to be romantic.
But
Also,
they're talking about romance because they can't say we're gonna fuck.
right. We're
Yeah.
going to go do it and hopefully make a baby.
And like
But
the
then,
lingerie and the whole thing, and I'm like, guys, just like she's ovulating, get on it. Like it's timed. It's not romantic weekend situation.
but also don't, because they're clearly not sure if they want a kid.
No,
At
and
multiple parts.
they live in an open loft where they both work from home with a roommate.
Oh, having a kid is going to cut into your indoor aquarium budget
Yeah.
real quick. You're going
They're
to have
gonna-
to sell those fish off. You're going to have to dry those tanks out. One's going to become a crib.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a weird roommate that likes to bring home people that are associated with the mob that have to
Yeah.
go into witness protection at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Maybe take a beat. Think a little longer about it. I don't think they've had a conversation about it.
No. They need to buy back their house from the first episode. That house had bedrooms.
They're clearly poor now for some reason because they have to have Eddie as a roommate.
What do we know? Gina's an artist. Right.
Yeah, because she doesn't want her kids getting into her paints. She has a whole meltdown on the
Yes.
bed. She's like, oh my God, my kids will be getting into my paintbrushes. And I'm like, you didn't think about that before you started fucking your husband on this romantic getaway?
Yeah. They get upset because the couple in the room next to them who are pounding it out all day. Because they say this is the first time we've been away without our kids in 6 years, and they're like shook. They have seriously not considered that having 5 children would impact your travel ability. And he's a lawyer. Like, he's supposed to not be dumb.
I know.
One of these 2 adults needs to have considered already the impact that having a child would have on their lives.
They both have child's brains because they are not making good decisions in general. I also, and I think because this was on broadcast television, and so you have to be careful with what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the people next door were watching TV loudly.
Oh.
I didn't get that they were doing it, even though I'm like, oh, are they doing it? But then he goes, oh, she said she's going to pass out. And that's when Craig gets up and goes over there. And I'm like, and they think it's a party? Like, what do they think this is?
Wait, Craig?
Yeah,
No.
Craig goes to the room.
Craig and Gina think they're fucking too loud. And
I know, but I wasn't reading that.
I was reading that.
Oh, I was not. I thought, I was like, why is one going to faint? Because I just didn't. Okay,
Have you never been fucked so hard that you faint? What's Pete doing over there? You're telling me you remain conscious the whole time?
Oh my God. Generally I think Pete is only having sex with me if I'm conscious, which
commendable.
which is the mark of, I'll say it, a decent man.
He gets a gold star sticker later.
Yeah. No, I was just like, I think because it was on a network. It's on, what was it on, Fox? I forget where it debuted. But because it's on major TV network,
mm-hmm.
at a prime time, I'm thinking they're not having sex next door. That's not what it is. And then
Oh.
they kind of say, "Oh, are they having a party? They're partying too loud or whatever." And then he goes to check it out. Then I was like, "Oh, they're going to be having a party." And then when he answered with the lipstick on his face, I was like, "Oh."
You know that it's hot and steamy sex session when you have perfect little lipstick kisses all over your face that aren't smudged or anything. That's how I do it.
What? Just like in the most random
Just little
places on your face,
mwah,
the unsexiest places, your
mwah.
forehead. Yeah, just
And then I get
oh.
so turned on I faint.
And then he has sex with me. Oh
I
no.
wasn't going to say it. I decided how dark I would go and no darker.
Oh, well, I picked up the slack.
Thank you. Okay, so they bring her Eddie brings her back into the loft.
Yeah.
But he also puts her in Gina and Craig's room. Give her your room
I
and then
know.
take their room because at least they know who you are.
I know. I would be livid if I came home to find out that our weird roommate, Eddie, had let a stranger sleep in my bed. First of all, because that's my private area. I don't like people in my space. And then she wore my ugly clothes.
Yeah.
I'd be so upset.
Gina comes home and Amy, that's the woman's name. I almost
Yeah.
said the blonde woman, but that wouldn't have narrowed it down. She's wearing a shirt that I will pull for the fashion icon of the episode for sure. It is like a rodeo shirt. Like it's very loud. It has like ropes with then in like where the rope loop is, it says like howdy. Like it's
Yeah.
a very unique and specific shirt. And Gina goes, "Oh my God, I have that same outfit." Like, girl, did you get that shirt custom made? What are the odds someone else is wearing that shirt
In your home.
in your home?
She had sex on the brain. She was like, because they're like, we need private time. And then the episode ends and they're like,
That's the thing. Craig and Gina are acting like they've not just decided to have a baby, but just decided to finally consummate their marriage.
yeah. It's like they've never done it before. And also, please stop telling everyone. I couldn't imagine a worse scenario than someone being like, we're going to go in that room right there
Yeah.
and do it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, ew, why are you telling me? Gross, just do it.
Yes. And
Like-
when they're in the hotel lobby, they're like arguing because the room isn't ready and they got to get to Pound Town.
Yeah.
And then the hotel guy overhears them talking about making a baby. And then he's like, "Oh, your room is ready." And he dangles the keys. And I'm like, are we
Pervert?
like that means they're gonna fuck, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not romantic. They were just like, "But we gotta fuck."
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "Oh, okay, well, if you're gonna fuck, then I'll get your room ready earlier."
Yeah, because he's a weird
What did you
pervert.
think
And
he-
he's like, I want to know what you're doing upstairs right now.
What did he think they were gonna do? What's what
I
everyone
know.
does on a romantic weekend?
He probably put them in the room with the camera in it.
Oh my
You know
God,
those
yes.
front desk pervs.
Yes. 1,000,000,000%.
I don't stay in Airbnb. I mean, no, I stay in Airbnbs, but it is scary. I don't stay in B&Bs.
Oh yeah, they're creepy.
They're creepy. And then like they make you breakfast in the morning, and then I have to
eat breakfast
talk
with
to
them
someone
and touch
Oh,
their things.
no,
I don't want
I
anything to
hate
do
it.
with it. Yeah, I've done it before. It's bad.
It's so bad. I want to stay in a cold. I want to stay in a cold, personality-less hotel with all white linens. I don't care. I don't want anyone to talk to me. I just want everything to be clean and hygienic, and I don't want to have to. I don't want to think there might be a camera in that porcelain doll looking at me as I sleep.
How did you feel when Craig took the shiny, like
No,
polyester, like not the blanket, but like it's not a quilt,
Bedspread.
but it was like the top of the blanket.
Yeah. I made it a toga.
And made it in a toga and like rubbed it on his body. And I was
No.
like, I don't know whether I'm more disgusted that he's putting other people's gross germs on his naked body or that he's rubbing his dick on that blanket.
Yeah, like he's adding to the gross
To the
germs. We know they
grossness.
weren't washing them in 1989, 1990.
I don't know. I'm still not sure that they are.
Well, now it's just if you go to a hotel that I prefer, it's like just a sheet that's like over the
Yes, and they
duvet.
just
I
wrap the
like
sheet,
that.
yeah.
Yes, I know that's clean.
That's true.
But it's
not
like
not that duvet.
Oh, that duvet had probably at least a decade of crust on it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the last time that couple was in that place fucking, it was on that bedspread and it still hasn't been washed. You know what I mean? It's a bad time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate it. Oh my god. This was okay. Oh, can I give a shout out to uh Garner Ellerby's legs?
You certainly can.
Because we see them on, I think he's on like a ATV at some point.
Yeah.
How jealous was Mitchell Buchanan to see Garner Ellerby's just luscious man thighs in
Yeah.
those short shorts on that ATV?
You cannot convince me that those shorts were not taken up for him, because that's not the length that khaki police shorts come in.
1,000%. Those were custom fitted to show off his thighs.
Maybe they had to take them up because his thighs couldn't be contained in the full pant.
I'll contain them.
Oh! I don't even know what that means.
I don't
but it's
either, but
hot.
I was like, I don't know. I think I'm like maybe a few episodes away from having like a very sexy Baywatch dream because,
No. I'm
right?
saying you've willed it into both of our existence.
Well, I will welcome it gladly because Mitch Buchanan was wearing aviators in one part and it was very hot.
I know the exact moment you're talking about. It was hot.
It was so hot. And we had Garner Ellerby's legs. And we had that butt montage of all the lifeguards. And I don't particularly like Trevor. I don't think he's not like my cup of tea.
Mhm.
But in this episode, I was like, I could take a sip of that tea.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because I was afraid I was going to have to say it. And I was like, begrudgingly, Trevor could get it.
Same. I was like, oh, it was like, in the beginning, he's kind of like featured and we're like, oh, this is going to be a storyline for him. And I was like kind of eye rolling, like, gross. Like, who cares? No. Once we finally hit that montage, I'm like, more Trevor, more Trevor. I didn't care for Jeff. Maybe because he's an asshole. Maybe because I know he's like roided out. And that's not for me. But I was
he's
like,
18.
Oh. And he's 18. Well, he's 40.
Yeah.
But on the show, he's 18. Sure. Yeah. I guess we could say that. Yeah, I swear, I'm like, once we hit 10 episodes, if I haven't had a sexy dream with someone from this show in it, I'll be shocked.
What if it's too sexy for you to tell me?
No, I would tell you.
Okay, good.
What, am I embarrassed by that?
No.
One, if it's super sexy, my imagination's good.
Okay.
And two, I'd want to share it because it'll be exciting. It'll be titillating and it's good content.
I can't wait to be titillated.
Okay, I will say, if you don't want to have a sexy dream about it, there is one thing you could look at that will upset you. And I sent it to you in Discord.
Uh-oh.
This is like if you need to cleanse your palate.
This is if I don't want. It's if I need to decrease the sex appeal I've already witnessed.
Yeah, if you need to like, or have a nightmare, I guess.
Can I click it?
Yeah, click it. It is the Wax Museum version of
Oh no.
of David Hasselhoff. This is 1995, so this is a little bit later than we are in the show. It is the scariest depiction of David Hasselhoff. Also, our friend Nika sent this to us, I should say.
Thank you, listener Nika. Is this in America?
Yeah, it's in Los Angeles. That's his wax figure. You know, like Madame Tussauds or whatever?
Yeah.
This was the 1995 version of
shocking.
David. Why is it like at 135%?
Yeah,
like,
that's the overarching question for sure.
The neck is creepy.
Yeah.
It's so upsetting. The face isn't right.
It looks like they started with not Hulk Hogan, but who's the
Andre the Giant?
No, I'm just thinking of the Hulk. It's not a joke. That's what I was.
You were thinking. They just took Bruce Banner as the Hulk, but not green, and they put some chest hair on it, and now that's David Hasselhoff.
Yes.
And gave it a mullet.
Yeah, but I was going to bring up in this episode, because of the 18-year-old and then Trevor and then Hoff, is like, what happened to men's jawlines in the last few years? Like, they're not making them like this.
Like the wax figure or like Hoff?
No, like Hoff, but the wax figure is certainly capturing an exaggerated version of what is true, which is that these men look like they're cut out of stone. What? I just feel like I'm not seeing jawlines like this anymore.
Like what happened to chins?
Yeah.
Maybe we've gotten really far away from the Habsburg jawline or whatever. Like we finally had enough iterations of people that like maybe that's what this
We
was.
bred out. Yeah.
Yeah, this looks like honestly, okay, you think it looks like the Hulk. I think it looks like if Ray Liotta, RIP, was stung by like a bunch of bees and had a mullet. It kind of looks like Ray Liotta to me.
Yes, it does. The caption here says that he's got a much hairier body than I have, observed Hasselhoff, who otherwise approved the likeness.
Oh, he must have. No, he must. Someone had paid him to say that. His PR team was like, "You have to say you like this." This is
Yeah.
from the August 14th, 1995 issue of People. Okay, well, we'll post that to social media. But I just wanted to show you how upsetting that was.
I am upset by that. Thank you for sharing that. I've got some unfun facts about Peter Phelps, who plays Trevor. I don't.
No.
Well, they're not that unfun, but
Oh,
I
okay.
went down a bit of a rabbit hole, which may or may not be interesting. But hey, you're here and you're listening, so
Yeah.
this is what you're going to learn. So Peter Phelps, who was born in 1960, so he was 29 in this episode. And before this, he was on a show. He's actually got around a lot. He even had like a bit part in Modern Family a couple of years ago. So like
No
he's
way.
still working.
Oh, good for him.
Well, and before he was
Oh,
on Baywatch, he was in something called Dirtwater Dynasty that I couldn't find anything more about.
sounds like a porno.
It wasn't. It wasn't. It
Was
was
it
too
like,
old.
there was porn before 1989.
Well, prove
Is
it.
it like a soap opera in Australia or something?
I think it might have been. Yeah. I think he
Okay,
did some
that's
like, he definitely has done a lot of like, he's a TV actor.
sure.
But he seems to have done okay in Australia. And in that show, which I think was around 1980,
Yeah.
he played the son of the lead character of that show. And the guy playing his dad was only 6 months older than him.
Whoa.
Savage.
I want to see what that guy looked like.
Savage for that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was also in Point Break the same year
Oh,
that he was in Baywatch. In this year that we're watching.
it makes sense because I feel like when actors are really good at something, like he's obviously good in the water. He's like a talented water sports person.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense that they would be used in multiple places. Good for
Yeah,
him.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And a while back, he was caught up in a very apparently like big deal, well-known Ponzi scheme in Australia where a guy targeted a bunch of like elderly people, not
Oh,
calling this guy elderly. This guy seems like he was younger than the group, but this guy went after old people, including his own 98-year-old mom.
that's how he found out about it. Wait, Peter Phelps' mom or the guy
No,
who
the guy
was
went after his own 98-year-old mom.
That's probably how it started. He wanted her money.
Yeah. Well, and he was a financial advisor, and so he was creating accounts, so he was moving money around for people, and he ended up taking 60 million of people's like retirement savings, of which our pal Peter Phelps lost $400,000.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a bummer. And then I went down this really long rabbit hole where they tried to sue. So this guy like went to court and went to jail. He only ended up serving 5 years of his sentence for defrauding 60 million people, like 400 people, taking all their money. And then the people tried to like sue him and like get retribution or whatever. But because it was their retirement accounts and they didn't have visibility on it because this guy was supposed to be investing it for them, that by the time they found out, the statute of limitations had already expired. It was only 6 years. And so of the
No.
400 people that this guy defrauded, only like 50 of them were eligible for the class action lawsuit that ended up going on. And so everybody lost all their money, and like one person lost hundreds of thousands of dollars and then won the class action, but because of the lawyer's fees ended up getting $2,000 back. The lawyers in the class action took 98% of the money
What?
for their lawyer's fees.
Wow.
Mhm.
So many people getting dicked around in so many different ways.
Yeah, it seems like it was a pretty significant, like, well-known because I noticed it on his Wikipedia where it said, like, Peter Phelps was caught up in this scheme, and I was like,
Oh.
"What scheme?"
Oh
And I went down a whole
God, that's
rabbit hole.
awful.
Yeah, so when you say that he has been working, I think he'll keep working. He's gonna be
He
working
has
for
to
a
keep
while,
working.
unfortunately.
This brings up a really interesting thing that I would love to look at some point, which is what are the residuals like for everyone who was on Baywatch? Because if this was the #1 show in the world and it's still in syndication, what does that look like? It maybe actually doesn't look great because like streaming has really bad
Mhm.
residuals, and actually they don't get residuals from it a lot of times. So
Yeah.
maybe it's nothing, but which would be really sad. But I bet they've been making money off that show for decades.
I wonder. We should find out what those contracts look like because I wonder, like, I suppose no one other than Hasselhoff probably had likeness rights and stuff like that, right? So, like, because
Until maybe a few seasons in.
yeah, because
Yeah.
like maybe it's streaming on Tubi isn't raking in the cash, but like
That's-
having your face and your likeness plastered on Barbie and Polly Pocket and
oh.
surfboards and
Yeah,
bathing suits and
licensing.
yeah,
Yeah.
literally every product ever made.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a good
But it
question.
would depend on whether you negotiated that, I think.
I bet they're making no money on streaming
Yeah.
because a lot of these shows that get sold, like people have talked about it. People in like, on Friends or whatever, it's like just a flat rate deal, and it doesn't matter how much
Ah,
people are streaming it. And they should be making so much money because people just play that show over and over and
yeah.
over and over and over, and they should be making money because it's their
Wait, you're talking about Friends?
any show
Okay, but
that's.
particularly I think the Friends people did okay.
Oh, I think they did okay, but also it's like they
But they
were.
didn't anticipate the
Yeah, they didn't anticipate streaming, and the
yeah.
streaming negotiations are so bad. So it's like
Yeah.
it's
A
a
lot of the
bummer.
time you don't even get the stats. Are
Yeah.
you familiar with the George Lucas deal that he made on like Star Wars? That's considered one of the best deals of all time. That's a thing that I would read about for
Oh,
fun.
no. Like with Disney?
No, this is like the original deal. I'm gonna butcher this story and Star Wars fans will be mad, but like for the original Star Wars, he really wanted to make these movies and they were like, well, like it's it's expensive. We're not gonna give you, but he was like, please just let me make it. Like I'll forego my salary and I'll just take like I think he entirely went without any kind of payment, but negotiated back end deal money
Wow.
and then negotiated the merchandising. And at the
Whoa.
point, the people he was negotiating with underestimated that Star Wars merchandising would be the biggest merchandising in the entire world forever. And so he ended up raking. He won it. He got 100 times more than he would have gotten in a standard deal.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
merchandising is where it's at, especially for stuff like that, I feel
Yes.
like. Yeah. And Baywatch. Who would have thought, though? I feel like this first season, it's so interesting because this first season, I don't think anyone would have known, like, oh, this is going to be merchandise.
No.
Everyone's going to want a jacket or a
No
poster or
way.
whatever. No one would have thought that. But yeah, it does. It gets so big. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So back into the episode, I guess like our girl, like what even happens? They're like trying to get away. Her boyfriend, drug dealer, arms dealer guy is like hunting them down.
Yeah.
And then he somehow finds out where they are. Like he busts into Eddie's house, Craig and Gina's house in the
Yeah.
morning. And
How? Yeah, we don't know how he found that
how?
place.
And I was really curious. I was particularly stuck on like when did he find out? Because
Yeah.
someone must have trailed them. That's how you would find out. And so someone followed them home last night, saw them go up there, and then was like, well, it's late.
Let's wait till 8 or 11 a.m., right? It was like
Yeah.
not even early morning. It's like just almost noon.
Because she'd already slept through. They skipped
Training.
lifeguarding
Yeah.
school to fuck.
Yeah.
And then and so he like comes in at a leisurely 11 a.m. to be like, hey, and then kidnaps them.
Do you think Eddie is a freak and he fucked
In
her
bed?
in? Well, do you think he fucked her in Gina and Craig's bed
Oh.
or in his bed?
Well, he doesn't seem to find any issue with the boundaries he's crossing, so I bet he did it in their much nicer bed. Doesn't he have a mattress on the ground in a storage room?
Probably, yeah, amongst boxes and like his whatever dumb stuff he has.
Yeah, I'm surprised he even told her he was house sitting. I'm surprised he didn't try to play it off like his own
Oh,
house.
good point. She would have seen through it immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't have cared. She was there to rob him.
True. Which also was so funny. She's like, I was going to rob you. And it's like, what? I didn't even know she was a criminal. Like, it was all, but she was just trying to get money to get away.
She was trying to get money to get out there before this guy murdered her. And so anyway, they find out where they are. They bust in. They kidnap them.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of fuzzy on how it all comes together. Then
they go to the marina.
They're at the marina, and then the guy makes her call Trevor of all people.
Yeah, well, makes her call the I think he just says, or she's like, I had the money sent to the lifeguard
Yeah, but why is Trevor
station.
the one answering the phone? She must have asked for him specifically.
Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that was interesting.
And so Trevor, our new good guy on the very precipice of his turnaround,
Yeah.
he tells Mitch they go down there.
Yeah.
They drive around, people who knows what, they bust in, they save them?
Yeah. Hoff tries to do like a jump off the, yeah.
Yes.
Um, and I rewound it because I was like, was that actually Hoff? I don't think it is. I think it's like a stunt double.
I did wonder, you know what's so funny? I did wonder, why is Hoff just in these trousers all the time? Like, if Ellerby can wear shorts on the police force, surely Hoff, the lifeguard lieutenant, can wear shorts, but it's because
Yeah.
of his legs, right?
Oh. I guess so. Yeah, it was like his personal choice and not like the character doesn't require that. It's just like what he wants. He's like, I don't need to be in shorts all the
Well, I think
time.
it was up to costuming, being like, for this
Yeah.
scene, maybe what if you were wearing the pants? And he's like,
Oh, you think other people had shame for like secondhand shame for him
okay.
of his legs and tried to cover it up?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I don't think that they had secondhand shame. I think that they wanted to produce a quality product that people wanted to watch.
They're like, we think you're sexy
And they were
if
like,
your
here,
legs aren't
Ellerby,
showing.
Ellerby, come over here.
Yeah, they're like, these shorts are shorter for you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. This, I'm just generally having a hard time with this show and how fast people fall in love and how intense people fall in love.
Who's in
And
love?
well, not in love, but like Eddie and Amy, it's like when she finally had her breakdown and was like, the mob's after me, they're going to find me here,
Yeah.
like all this stuff. And then it
And he was
happens.
like,
He's
so you
like,
think we should fuck?
well, he's like, "Don't worry, I won't let them anything happen to you, and if anything you need, and oh no, it's fine, and you were gonna rob me." Oh, it's like, no. If someone was like, "I was gonna rob you," I'd be like, "Okay, well, this is awkward, but you should probably leave."
Even if they were really hot
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
you were a 21-year-old boy?
I feel like if I was a 21-year-old boy, then potentially I would let it slide. But
Yeah.
I think this is getting everyone on this show into some precarious situations that could be easily avoided.
I know, but then the show would be really boring.
Yeah, true.
So
We need the drama.
I thought it was actually interesting that Eddie takes this chick home and immediately takes her. He's like, vulnerable woman, Pound Town. That's the name of the Baywatch game. And we see our pal Erica Elianek just like,
Yeah.
should we get all we got from her the whole episode was one sad look while he was taking his new girlfriend away.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, they're actually pretty slow burning that one. Like now, I
Yeah.
would consider him fucking some other chick as like a pretty significant setback in their romantic like arch.
And they're already
arc.
slow. Yeah, and they're already slow romantic arc. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a conspiracy theory as to why she wasn't really in this episode.
Why?
Shawnee. I think maybe she waxed her eyebrow like and they were like, you can't do that. That's your calling card. And she was like, oh no.
No.
And so she's barely featured and her eyebrow is barely in it.
Why? I do find the eyebrow distracting.
Yeah, it was there.
No,
I'm
I
just teasing.
saw it.
Yeah. No,
It was
no.
like she was so upset and it was like pointing. It was signaling her disappointment.
Yeah. I do love that the end was a sting op. I love a sting op. I love that we got to see David Hasselhoff crouched in between the truck seat and the like
it was
dashboard.
so cute.
Yeah, I thought that was funny and cute.
And he's such a big guy.
He's so tall. And I just love that that everybody was that it was a sting op and it went well. And of course it always goes well because it has to be wrapped up in a pretty
That's
little
true.
ending where she goes into witness protection, which I thought was very quick. She's like, "Oh, I'm already going to have a new name and you're not going to find me and bye, this is it forever, bye." And I'm like, wouldn't she go through like some legal where's like the detectives and stuff?
Yeah, where was anyone other than Ellerby in this law enforcement situation?
And why did they let her go back to his house if she's like mobbed up and she was just attacked and almost killed? There's surely his boss, her boyfriend, turtleneck suit guy, his boss is going to be looking for her now. So why is she not in witness protection already?
Yeah, or use her to get all these criminals.
Right. Something I just think Yeah, something wasn't right. It just I feel like this episode got to the end and they're like, "Crap, we only have 2 minutes left." Okay, Ellerby tackles them in the water. They make a joke about him becoming a lifeguard,
Yeah.
and how he should because he already has the shorts for it or whatever.
Yeah.
Then we cut back and she's at his house and she's going into witness protection, and then Craig and Gina come home and they talk about fucking end episode.
Yeah.
Bam. Okay, we did it.
And
Let's
some
get
some intern in the back was like, "What if we cut one of the montages?" And it's like, "You're fired."
yeah. Go get me a coffee. And never suggest that again.
Love
We're
it.
going to add 3 minutes to the second montage now that you've said that. Way to go, rookie. Just hazing him. Okay, we didn't even talk about really the steroids heart attack, but
Oh, yeah.
we did. I mean, we mentioned it a little bit, but that was a big moment. And this was, as they would say, a very special episode in the 80s and 90s
Oh,
whenever they
really?
would talk about drugs. Yeah, like you wouldn't be familiar, but there is a Saved by the Bell episode where Jessie gets addicted to caffeine pills, and it's like the very special episode where she has to be
Oh.
confronted. And like that was the struggle in this one where it's like Trevor knows he should probably say something, but he's like, it's your body and I'm not going to worry about it. And then he's like, I should have said something. And Hoff's like, yeah, you should have.
Yeah, and he's like, "If I had said something, he wouldn't have had a heart attack." And I'm like, "How do you figure?"
Right. Yeah.
No, he just would have had it at home. He
Yeah.
just wouldn't have been here,
Interesting. Yeah.
surrounded by medical professionals. But I mean, maybe he wouldn't have been running, but he looked pretty fit. So I feel like he might have been running anyway. Because if you're the kind of guy who's so serious about working out that you're taking steroids, it
Yeah.
probably wouldn't really matter whether you were at lifeguard tryouts that day or not.
I agree. Yeah. He was, he's already been taking it for long enough that it's damaged his heart to the point where he's having a heart attack on the beach. Like, I think you could have said something to get him disqualified, but
Yeah, but that
that
wouldn't
seems
have
rude.
necessarily saved his life, which is what he
True.
seems to be beating himself up about.
True.
I also in that scene we saw some of one of my real pet peeves, which is the classic Baywatch nonchalance, because Trevor, like Mitch comes to his office and Trevor's already there and he's like, "I need to talk to you about Jeff." And instead of Mitch being like, "Hey, well, yeah, what's up with Jeff? I'm
Right.
paying attention." He's like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Kid like that has a heart attack, blah blah blah, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Ask Trevor what he came to talk to you about." Like, Trevor has to bring it up again to be like, "Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. It's this."
Or even just respond with like, "Oh yeah, he's still in the hospital. They're saying, he's stable, but blah blah blah." And then let him but
Yeah.
like if you're gonna like play it down, at least like cut to the chase of something that's irrelevant. It's like, I don't know. Like, even that's a better emotional response if you're like, "Oh, yeah, it's sad he's in the hospital, but I think he's doing okay, so you don't need to worry about him," or
Yeah,
whatever, and it's
sure.
like, yeah, at least that's more normal than, "Oh, you too, rivals, huh?" Like, or whatever his vibe is. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, people just not paying attention.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, it feels like in this show, people just they're not listening to each other or
No.
something. And that's how the dialogue sounds a lot of the time. It's
Yes.
like, did you just hear what they said? Or do you have any context to this situation?
No.
No. Yeah. And that in that way, it's very much a soap opera.
Yes, it's just exposition forwarding the plot, getting us
Yeah.
to more montages. The
Yeah.
montages, which I love, and I wouldn't cut a second of them, but just there really is so much more time. If you took out all the B-roll and montages, you could be telling stories twice as long as they are telling, but they're like, "No, thank you. We don't need it."
Yeah. They're like, we have a butt quota to meet in every episode.
But all men butts.
I loved it. I loved this
I
episode.
really did enjoy the
This one.
butts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought the end of that sentence was implied.
I didn't know if you were gonna say the episode, but you said the butts, and that's even more
Yeah.
delightful. How many red swimsuits out of 5?
Oh, interesting. Interesting. I gotta have a frame of reference. I can't just, I don't want to be biased just by recency, by my own frame of mind when I'm watching, by how excited I was to watch Baywatch today.
Yeah.
But I mean, 3.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 3.5 because
Yeah, I
of the
was on
butts.
yeah.
We haven't gotten men in Speedos to date, have
I
we?
think I think we might have remembered the montage. Oh, I bet it's the same footage. There was a montage a couple of episodes back where I pointed out that right after the theme song, then there was a 4-minute on the dot montage of them still running and fucking around on the beach, and they were wearing black bathing suits in that.
Oh,
And so I
okay.
wonder if they were the same black bathing suits and that they were also would have been Speedos.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Well, this one clearly that one didn't stick as much as this one did, and I
No,
think it's because the duration of this one
and
really made me.
close
Yeah,
up.
and they're close. And it's like we got from behind the butts, laying on their stomach, like legs up to the butt. It was like
Yeah.
these angles are normally reserved just for exploiting women, and we got to exploit the men in this episode, and I
Yeah.
say more please.
Yeah. There was a whole scene or a whole like couple of frames where they're just walking by and it's cut at like it's just their
Their
junk.
junk section. I know, and they're running. They're slow-mo running, and it's just thighs and junk. It was
Bouncing.
it's like if do you know the thong song?
Yeah.
It's almost like that. It's almost like that video. That's the song that
Yeah.
I'm gonna set that to.
Yeah.
Great.
Great. Get to it. You know what? You make yours, the fans will send in theirs, and I'll
Yeah.
evaluate them, and I'm willing to watch as many hours of junk bumping footage as I must in
Oh my
service of
God.
Baywatch. I'm ZJ Hadley.
I'm Nicole Mackey.
This has been Baywatchers.
End podcast.